How did you fall in love with this amp?
Luckily, I got to borrow it, and it does something that my favorite amps do, which is it's easy to find the sweet spot where it's just beginning to distort, and it sounds kind of clean and dirty at the same time. And particularly between 0 and 5 on the clean channel, it always sounds very full and in your face, and plenty of top end. The tone controls are really variable and all musical, so when you get too much bass, it still sounds musical even though you have too much bass. Likewise with the middle and treble. So yeah, it's easy to find sweet spots. I don't use the overdrive channel as much because I generally would use it for most of the music I do is not on the metal or hard rock edge right now. But when I do use it, it sounds very warm and kind of pillowy. So I really like it for chording. It sounds pillowy, which is kind of a classic, more Fender style of kind of bottom end saturation. But where it really shines is in the solo department. The sustain on the solos, particularly way up on the neck, sounds really natural. Just because of the work I do playing on people's songs all the time, I actually use the clean channel and overdrive it all the time. Maybe stick a pedal in front of it, just a minor boost pedal, a really natural overdrive of some sort. But for me, yeah, it is the clean channel, but distorted. Kind of half overdriven on the clean channel. That's what I use most with this amp.
And you actually record and commit to the reverb from the amp?
Absolutely. That's one of the great things about it. The reverb, somehow the way this amp hits the reverb, it doesn't mask the sound at all. It actually adds a bit of a dimension to it. Yeah, I print reverb all the time, and people don't mind. They actually like it. I like the way the distortion hits the reverb on this amp. It was a really well crafted voiced reverb.
What's the cabinet you're using with the Venus 5?
I use this a lot. It's typically a 412. Doesn't really matter which brand. There's a lot of great ones out there. But I always use vintage 30s. I have 25s in there, but all the sounds we just used were vintage 30s. They have a little more top end. Some players don't like that, and they like the 25s. So I have 25s and 30s in this particular cabinet. But I like the vintage 30 because I like to have that little brighter speaker.
And what are the mics on the vintage 30?
Of course, SM57, and then I just switched over to the 122V Royer, which is just a little more spongy version of the 121 that is the industry standard. But I took down my 121 and put up this 122V because it's just a little more vintagey sounding,